Hey, babes, I'm going to ask you something and I need you to be as honest as you possibly can. I want you to think about your career. Think about what you do each and every day on your job. Think about something that maybe that you've built, something that you earned, something you accomplished that you're genuinely proud of. And I want you to ask yourself, how did you do it? You set a goal, right? You made a plan. You showed up even when you didn't feel like it. You pushed through. You figured it out. You did not quit. You did what needed to be done because that's what you do. Now, I want you to think about your love life. Think about your romantic relationships and tell me, have you been running those same plays in your relationships? Because for a lot of you, the answer is yes, and it is not working. If we're being honest, it's not really working, and you just can't figure out why. Because you've done everything right. You've gone by the book. It works in one area of your life, but for whatever reason, it ain't working in this one. Well, sis, you did everything right for the boardroom, but that don't work in the bedroom or with your family or with your friends. That's what we're getting into today. If you are someone who has it all together and can overfunction, run circles around people, do all the things, it works out for you at work. But when you apply those same principles at home, the math ain't mathing, then you need to just come on in the room and sit down. I'm going to give you today better understanding as to why this is happening and also a subtle small shift that you can do to see your way out of that pattern, baby. Come on, let's go. Hi, I'm Dr. Tiff, your relationship transformation coach. I've spent the past 20 years working with high-achieving women just like you who are crushing it in every area of their lives, everywhere except their relationships. And look, I get it. Finding the one ain't easy, and relationships are hard. But you know what's even harder? Cycling through the bad ones, or worse, staying in relationships when you already know they're not a good fit. You want a relationship of ease, uncomplicated, someone to love you down, but instead you've been suffering through bad dates, sexual incompatibility, and someone who might be good for somebody, but not for you. And if we're really being honest, you know that deep down, the work that really needs to be done starts and ends with you. If you're done wasting time in dead-end relationships and sick of looking for, chasing after, or trying to convince somebody to be the one, and you're ready to become the one, then baby, you're in the right place. So prop your feet and let's clink glasses because I'm giving you the tea and the tips to fix your relationships. Let's go. Welcome back. It's your girl, Dr. Tiff, and you are listening to Fix Your Relationships podcast. I'm excited to have you guys here with me today. You know what? I was thinking about what I wanted to say to you, what I want to talk about today. And the first thing that came to my mind is something that I've been working on behind the scenes that I haven't really talked about. And even though I'm going to give you a glimpse of it today, I'm not really going to talk about it today. We're going to wait. It's far off before it actually comes to fruition. But I do want to say, because I'm very proud of myself, okay? I wrote a book, guys. I finally wrote a book. Now, this isn't the first book that I've written. I have written another book, but I never published it. And I talked about that a lot. I talked about that like last year sometime in one of those podcast episodes. I don't know, girl. But this one, I was very much inspired by some of the podcast episodes that we've been doing, a lot of the work that we've been doing in the One Within 30-Day Reset. And I just really wanted something tangible for people who really want to do this work, who maybe can't get into the room with me for an individual session, or maybe come and hear me speak, but want something more, something to take home. I wrote a book that is the perfect companion to everything Dr. Tiff, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited about it. It is all about becoming the one. I can't wait to share it with you. I'm not going to talk too much in detail now because I'm still knee deep in getting, all of the artwork and the cover and the descriptions and all of that stuff together. But because it's front of mind for me, and I'm so proud of it, I did want to share it because it is I was going to say a small win, but it's a major win for me. I'm super excited about it. But we have so many things, great things coming up that I don't want to cloud our conversation with the book because we've got, the one within 30-day reset. We're doing that right now. In May, we're about to relaunch More Love, Less Hustle. That's coming up in May. I'll talk to you about that a little bit later. And so after that, June is probably when we're going to really start talking about the book. But I'm just so excited that I actually finished it that I just wanted to share it with you and toot my own horn. Okay? Beep, beep. Y'all, beep, beep. All right. Today, I want to talk to you about something that I think a lot of us have felt but haven't quite had the language for. Our conversation today is specifically for those of us who move through life with like the clearest and the greatest, most precise intention, the woman who sets goals and meets them, who figures it all out, whose your people know if you need it done, call her because she is going to do it. At work, you have a very specific set of skills. Isn't that what Liam Neeson said? I have a very specific set of skills. And what was that movie? Gosh, I forget the name of the movie. Y'all know it. Anyway, he had a very specific set of skills too. You are self-reliant. You figured out early that if you want something done right, you do it yourself. You have very high standards. You know what the standards should look like. Hell, you set the standard. And you don't settle for less than that. You're a problem solver. When something isn't working, you diagnose it and fix it before anybody else even recognizes that something's wrong. And you crush your follow through. If you say you're going to do it, what do? You do it, right? Every single time. But here's what happens when you bring those same exact skills into a relationship. That self-reliance starts to look like refusing to be vulnerable. You don't want to open up. You want to keep everything close to the vest. You never share because you spend your life learning that needing people is a way to get let down by people. You don't allow yourself to need anybody because you don't want to be let down. You just feel like, you know what, I can handle it. I always do. I always come through for me. So I'm just going to handle it. I'm going to take it on. Now, in relationships, those same high standards start to make you look and feel like you're impossible to please. Not because your standards are wrong, because, baby, they're not, but because you tend to apply them with the same rigidity you use at work. And a relationship is not a performance review. We talked about this on episode 68, Working Overtime in the Relationships, 8 Signs You're Outsourcing Love to Performance. If you missed it, go back and listen to that one. Now, that stellar problem-solving ability that you have, it starts to look like overfunctioning in relationships. When the relationship has an issue, you treat it like a project. You dive into overgiving, over-explaining, over-investing, over-functioning, because that is how you fix things. Except you cannot fix a person, sis, and you can't hustle your way into being loved. And that follow-through that you're constantly praised for starts to look like carrying everything alone. Because when the other person doesn't follow through, what do? You step in, you cover it. You just get the work done. You pick it up. You don't let things fall apart. So what happens is you look up one day and you are exhausted. You're doing everything and getting the bare minimum back in return. And you can't figure out why, because you've done everything right. You did everything right for a job, but relationships are not a job and they can't run on that same type of system. That's why it doesn't feel like it's working. Now, there's something that I think is underneath all that, and something we don't talk about enough, but many of us struggle with it the most, and that is receiving. Highly driven women like us, sis, highly driven women often struggle to receive, allowing people to love you back, to give to you, to dote on you, to handle things for you. When we are the go-to person that everyone depends on, it's extremely hard for some of us to depend on anybody else. We are phenomenal, okay, at giving our time, our energy, our attention, our love, our resources. We're generous and we're consistent. But when someone tries to give to us, honey, I'm looking for an agenda, okay? What angle you got? What you want from me, okay? We deflect the help. We minimize the need. We immediately give something back in return. So the exchange feels balanced. I ain't trying to owe nobody nothing. And here's why we do that. Because receiving requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires trust, and trust requires letting go of control, and losing control is the thing you've spent your entire life learning you can't afford to lose. So many of us are walking around with this quiet, deeply rooted, like unconscious belief that we are not worthy of being loved just as we are, without all of that output, without the performance, without earning that love. So we keep performing, we keep giving, we keep achieving, because achieving feels safer than being vulnerable, than exposing how we really feel, than sharing those parts of ourselves. Right? Because being seen vulnerable, right, means someone might find out underneath all of this capability, we're still trying to figure out if we're enough. That is the work, sis. Not finding a better partner, not building a better dating profile. That is the work right there. Now, Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all of your ways, submit to him, and he will make your path straight." Okay? Lean not on your own understanding. Lean not, okay? Don't lean on your own understanding. For the highly driven woman, you know who you are because I'm talking directly to you, sis. For the highly driven woman, this verse is so personal that your entire operating system is built on your own understanding. And this verse is saying, don't lean on that. Don't depend on your understanding. Depend on mine. Right? You trust your analysis, your plan, your execution, because it works for you. It's gotten you this far. But the love you're craving is not something you can execute your way into. The relationships that God has for you require surrender. It requires trust. It requires the willingness to be known without all of that armor. Take your wig off, zhuzh up them edges, okay? No Maybelline, no lashes. And for some of y'all, no teeth, okay? It wants you without all of it, without all the systems, without all the order. And that, being that vulnerable, right? Being that open requires healing. The slow, unglamorous work of learning to believe that you are worthy of love before you've earned it, not after you've proven yourself, not after you've figured everything out, not when you've become the best version of yourself. You deserve that right now. Hey babes, taking a quick break to talk to you about the One Within 30-Day Reset, my one-of-a-kind guided journaling experience. If you are someone who is determined to improve your relationships in 2026, but also want to make sure that you don't neglect yourself in the process, I'd love to see you inside this program. I designed the One Within 30-Day Reset for women just like you, strong, hyper-independent, crushing it at work, living your dreams. But if we're really being honest, things are a little lacking in the love department. You know that there's probably some self-work that you need to do. Maybe you've been putting it off because you're not quite sure where to start. Well, that's where the One Within steps in. If you can spare just 5 to 10 minutes a day, I'll help you identify the patterns and triggers holding you back in your relationships, help you to set better boundaries and end the cycles of self-sabotage and missed red flags. I'll help you embrace the personal growth strategies necessary to stop making the same mistakes over and over again and to start calling in that love we both know you deserve. And remember, this is a guided experience. I'm not just handing out blank sheets of paper and telling you to scribble your hopes and dreams. Each day, I'm providing you with thought-provoking prompts designed to really tap into what's kept you feeling stuck in your relationships. In addition, you're going to get daily video messages from me, get full access to our private community, group coaching calls, bonuses, and so much more. If you're ready to sign up or just need more information, head on over to drtiffanyhenry.com/theonewithin. Now back to the show. All right, you guys know what time it is. It's time for those questions. Go ahead and get your journal, your paper, your pen. If you're driving, please do not try and write these things down while you're driving. I want you to just pull over or come back to it a little bit later. Just please promise me that you're going to come back because these questions are for you and they deserve your full attention. So question number 1, I want you to think about a relationship. It could be a past relationship. It could be the one you're in right now where things got really hard. What was your go-to move? Did you give more, try harder, become more available? And where did you first learn that doing more was how you were going to keep love in your life? I want you to trace it back. Just think about it. Don't judge or analyze whatever comes your way. We're just being honest here. And again, I tell you this every week. This is between you and you. Okay. This is your journal. So just feel free to write down whatever you want to write down, because the strategy you're running in your love life right now, okay, you've learned it somewhere. Maybe it was in it as a kid in your childhood home. Maybe it was the first person who loved you, who wasn't really consistent. And it made sense at the time to just kind of do everything yourself, to be self-sufficient, to not rely on anyone else. But is that still serving you today in love? I'm almost willing to bet that it's not. Right. Question number 2. When someone tries to truly give to you, they really want to give you something, goodness of their heart. They want to care for you. They want to love on you. They want to be there for you without needing anything in return. What happens in your body? What happens inside your body? How does it feel to you? Do you get all mushy inside? Does it make you warm and tingly? Are you happy about it? Or do you feel anxious? Do your shoulders tighten up? Are you clenching? Are you waiting with anxiety? Are you feeling like, okay, the shoe's going to drop somewhere. There's got to be an ulterior motive. What happens in your body? Think of a specific moment. Someone did something genuinely kind for you. And notice what happens inside your body as you're thinking about that. How did you receive that? Did something in you try to deflect it? Did you minimize it? Did you try and give back immediately? Because the tightening, all of those feelings, everything, the anxiety, the tightening, the clenching, any of that, right? All of that is information. It's all information. And we have to ask, what is it that I'm protecting? What am I trying not to feel by giving back, by deflecting the gift, by refusing it or doing something immediately in return, right? Question number 3, if you couldn't use effort, performance, or output to prove your worth in a relationship, if you simply had to be loved as you are right now today, what would feel most vulnerable about that? What would feel most vulnerable about that? Sit in it for a minute. Sit in that question for a minute. If you couldn't use effort, all the performance, all the things that you do to prove your worth in a relationship, if you simply had to be loved just as you are, there was nothing that you could do in order to be more loved, you just had to be, okay? What would feel the most vulnerable about that? Sit in that feeling. Do not rush past it, and then write it out. What would it mean to you to truly believe that you are already enough? All right. And as we do every week, I want to give you a small shift. This is one thing, and I promise you this at the top of the episode, one small shift this week can change this. And so here's one small thing that I know each and every one of you can do. And that is to practice receiving one thing without giving back. You're going to do that at least one time within the next 7 days. We're going to work on this. Okay. Someone compliments you, you're going to say thank you. And that's going to be it. When they say, oh, girl, I love that dress, you don't say, oh, yes, girl, and I like your shoes, your hair, your teeth. Okay. You don't have to say any of that. Just receive the compliment. Thank you, doll. I appreciate it. And let it go. You don't have to deflect it. Oh, girl, this is just so old. It's been in my closet all this time. You don't have to immediately return the compliment. Just let it land. Let it land, sis. Absorb it. Let it be. If someone does something kind for you, let yourself be cared for. This is a real challenge for a lot of us, letting ourselves be cared for. We don't have to rush to reciprocate it. We have to just receive it. That's all I'm asking you to do this week, is to receive love. I know it sounds super simple, but for those of you today that really felt like I was talking directly to you, it's because I was. I know it's not that simple at all. This is going to be a radical shift for some of you, because it's the beginning of believing that love doesn't have to be earned, that you are worthy of it, not because of what you produce, but because of who you are. And that belief, honey, that is the belief that changes everything. So many of us really do struggle with letting go long enough to welcome in the love that we desire and deserve. We feel like if we're not busy doing, we'll never receive it. And the reality is, it's just the opposite. That's why I created More Love, Less Hustle. Some of you took part of that in February. And like I said at the top of the show, it's coming back in May. I'm not going to talk about it too much right now, because I'll be talking with you more about that on next week's episode, because if I plucked a nerve or 2 or 3 today, you need to be all up in that, okay? And if today's episode felt like I was reading you, honey, it's because I was. If you recognize yourself as a woman who hustles for love the same way you hustle at work, I want you to know something. You are not flawed, sis. You are not the problem either. You are not too much. You are a woman with extraordinary drive who is never taught that love operates on a completely different system than the one you excel at. And now you know that. Now you know. And knowing is where the change starts. I work with women doing this work, this exact work every single day. If you're ready to go deeper on that work, to dig into the beliefs and patterns that have been quietly running your love life, come do it with me inside the One Within 30-Day Reset. It's 5 to 10 minutes a day. That's it. This is the inner work that all that hustling you've been doing cannot do for you. Okay? Everything you need to know about the One Within 30-Day Reset can be found at drtiffanyhenry.com/theonewithin. Tiffany is spelled with an I-E, not a Y. So drtiffanyhenry.com/theonewithin. You can go straight there or just go to the show notes. There's a link right there that'll take you right to that page. Ladies, I love you so much, and I don't want you out here hustling for love. I do want you to acknowledge your own patterns, and I want you to understand why we do what we do and why things aren't working out. And one of the reasons that so many of us struggle in love is because we're trying to look at ways in our lives in which we are successful and apply those things to our relationships. And sometimes they just do not apply. All the hustle that you've been doing at work, you cannot hustle like that in love and expect to get the same result. It does not work like that. People don't work like that. Love don't work like that. Okay. I love you. I hope that today's episode finds you well and that you got what you needed to get from it. I hope also that you will come back for another episode just like this next week. Ciao. Hey, babe, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. My goal with this podcast is to bless you with information that helps you fix those relationships that are most important to you, but not before you do the self-work needed to make sure that those relationships thrive. If this episode was exactly what you needed, then guess what? Somebody else probably needs it too. So do me and them a favor. Please share this episode with your good girlfriend and let her know about the podcast. And while you're at it, hop on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. This really helps to grow the podcast and puts it right in front of other women who are desperate to work on their relationships and themselves. And if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to join our community of like-minded women all on a journey to become the one. You can sign up for free at becomethone.myflowdesk.com/email. I know that's a lot, so just go on over to the show notes and click that link there. Thanks again for listening to Fix Your Relationships with Dr. Tiff. I'll see you right back here next week.